Good evening and a warm welcome to round 5 of the BP Ultimate Supercars All-Stars E-Series, and we have a huge night planned once again, which includes 1 racetrack and 3 races around the very famous Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium, and 5 huge names joining us as well. Jonathan Simon joining me for Armour All qualifying. One of those names is Lando Norris, and we are very excited to have him.
One of the quickest sim racers in the world too is Lando. McLaren Formula 1 driver, had his rookie season in 2019, and boy did he impress. Can't wait to see how he fares against our supercars field today.
And the young guy sitting alongside him, at least in that shot, on the opposite side of the world, is the son of a 5-time world motorcycle champion and an absolute icon of Australian motorsport, Jack Doohan. And we can just see a tiny slice of Dad in the background. So he's racing from Dad's place on the Gold Coast, and he's been forging his own successful career through karting, now a Red Bull junior driver. So he hops into the same livery and the same number that we saw Max Verstappen driving at round 2. And if he could just go half as quick as Max went, he'll be having a good night.
And the good news for Jack is that he has raced here in the real world compared to some of our supercars talent who may not have visited this place in Europe. And what a shot that was. Through Eau Rouge, and then we're already on here to begin a lap. Now, the difference between this and the Formula 1 layout is that we are using the start-finish straight succeeding turn number 1 at La Source. So we'll keep track of that later on throughout the event. And we're currently in the middle of a session here. There'll be 9 minutes remaining. And Chad, that determines our top 10 that will head to the shootout.
This is the perfect time to join us for Armour All qualifying, with just under 9 minutes left on the clock, trying to qualify inside the top 10 for the Armour All shootout. Exact same format that we ran at Mount Panorama a few weeks ago, which went really, really well. Here comes Lando Norris with 1 corner to go. So just like you mentioned, that is not the start-finish line there. The last corner is now La Source, which is turn 1 in Formula 1.
And you'll have bad memories of this part of the circuit.
Yeah.
Retired on the final lap last year after what would have been his career best finish in Formula 1, but I'm sure he'll improve on that later on. And let's see how he fares this time round. He's on a personal best so far for this lap. This is a hot run for Norris, and it puts him to 3rd.
2 minutes 17.66. Lando has just booked himself a ticket, surely, to the Armour All shootout. And how cool is that? At the moment, it's Van Gisbergen and D Pasquale, usual suspects there. Lando Norris, welcome to the party. Scott McLaughlin, Chaz Moss to the top 5. Waters, Heimgartner, LeBrock. Feeney, another one of our wild cards. A big warm welcome to the Tickford Super 2 star, Brock Feeney, that is, who's the youngest in the field. Will Davison sneaks into 9th and knocks Feeney down to 10th. We'll also quickly mention Jaden Ojeda, who's stepping up with us this week as well. And welcome back to James Courtney, former series champion from 2010, having his first run in what is a very new world for JC.
Wants to race back in the real world too. He's a competitive fellow, and there's a reason why he's a supercars champion at James Courtney. So hopefully he can find himself a full-time seat either this year or for the next year. But this is Lee Holdsworth, who has been a bit of a qualifying specialist in our BP Supercars All-Stars E-Series. He qualified 4th in the Armour All qualifying session last week at Watkins Glen, and I'm expecting him to make the shootout today. He's on a run here today so far. He set some good times, but for him, remember, he was bumped out of the shootout at Bathurst in the last moments by willpower.
Here comes Jaden Ojeda, drives in Super 2, typically in a Nissan at Matt White Motorsport. He's got the Jayco signage similar to what he runs in Super 2. And he's very low slung in that seat right now. He's actually in an old A1 GP tub, which is really cool. It's been modified into a sim. He's racing at Sydney Motorsport Park at the EROS Driving Performance School, where he is actually a driving instructor. Oh, that's really close. Jesus. As Jack Smith had a moment heading up towards the chicane.
Not the bus stop as it used to be known. It was remodeled back in 2004. It was still a bus stop in 2004, but it was remodeled to what you're seeing today for the 2007 Formula 1 season. And look at the amount of traffic he's got to deal with here for Jaden Ojeda. And I remember he was very strong in Formula Ford back in 2017, won the opening round of the Australian Formula Ford season at Sandown, and he was the 2018 Formula 4 champion. And for Ojeda across the line, moves into 7th.
So he might have just locked himself into the Armour All shootout, which is a huge effort. We had plenty of wildcards featuring the Armour All shootout at Bathurst, and we're going to see a few more of those tonight. Dave Reynolds, one of the big improvers last time out in the E-Series.
Good stuff, David Reynolds. Really put in the work here. Let's see how he fares, though, across the line.
Bit of an Armour All shootout specialist, actually, in recent years. Oh, that would have been an almighty shot in real life, heading up towards the top at Radion. Now, elsewhere, Ojeda, this was really close between he and Jack Smith. Both Super 2 graduates.
Oh, that's closer than I remember.
And that was tied on the BP Ultimate replay heading up towards the chicane. So danger averted. Smith getting that car over to the right-hand side and out of Jaden's way. And then Dave finding the quickest way back to the pit lane is through the fence at Eau Rouge. And
clout.
Even in a virtual world, that still makes me cringe somewhat, seeing a car do that.
Well, Stefan Baloff actually lost his life at the exact same spot that Reynolds just crashed here. He was in an incident with Jackie Ickx back in the day, and Baloff was actually Michael Schumacher's childhood idol, and that is James Courtney, our other wild card. That, unfortunately, Chad, will delete his lap time.
Now, that's important. We should talk about that. Something that's happened to James in the real-world scenario before in Armor qualifying, particularly in shootouts. You can get your lap time taken away if you exceed track limits, particularly short-cutting corners.
Yeah, and this is one of the most difficult circuits in iRacing, as we get a brilliant shot from the driver's perspective here. This is like GoPro or Google Glasses or something in the real world, whatever they're called. But this is Bryce Fullwood in the Mobile One Middies entry. But every corner on this track, even this one now, coming out of the exit of what is either Campus or Stabilo, that's an argument to be had another day. You can pick up a 1X here. You've got to keep your right wheels within the white lines here at Curb Paul Frere. And then at Blanchimont too. There was a 24-hour race here once where a sim racer drove 8 hours in total and picked up no incident points. That has to be the greatest achievement in not only racing history, but human history. Better than the humans landing on the moon, basically, in my opinion. It's that hard.
You have to be inch perfect around here, and Bryce Fullwood was nice through Blanchimont. Gets this thing stopped. Back down to first gear, through the chicane, feed the power down. He's been on a pretty good run in Armor qualifying lately. Trying to continue that run right now. Did get into the Armor shootout at Bathurst, but had his time taken away after contact with the wall going up through Reed Park. Nick Burkhardt starting a lap with a bit of an Alan Grice entrance onto the front straight. And Bryce's best qualifying of the year with his very first race at Phillip Island. Can he lock himself into the shootout? Well, he sneaks in. He goes to 9th, pushes Jack LeBlanc out, and he will take the quickest way back into pit lane.
Look at the time left, Chad, too. 3 minutes in the session. So when he escapes the pit lane, you need a 2 minutes 30 to get a good outlap here. And Brock Feeney over here is another wild card that'll be racing, and he's coasting here on this outlap because you don't want to use the rubber too much. Just like Mount Panorama, you want to save the best rubber for the hot lap because the tires do give up basically at the end of your first hot lap. So you've really got to be careful here as he drives onto the marbles.
Making sure that Mark Winterbottom is not impeded on his way through. Former Tickford driver and modern day Tickford driver. As he gets set to make a lap, he'll start this hot lap down in 13th. He's the youngest driver to have joined the E-Series as well. Although just pipped actually by Jack Doohan, who's a few months younger than him.
They're all young.
Yeah, 17 years of age, the two of them, which is really cool.
What were you doing at 17, Chad?
Playing video games.
Same thing?
Same thing I'm doing at 33 years of age. Here comes Jack LeBlanc in the super cheap auto car. And that is not the preferred line through Puyol.
No, that used to be a gravel trap there back in the day, and that's not something I want to discuss today because it's a lot of fans aren't the fan of the tarmac runoffs, but the amount of traffic here is absolutely ridiculous. It's the biggest field we've had for the E-Series, and you just don't want to get on Berto's naughty list at the end of this session. There's LeBlanc out of the way.
Getting a lap in is going to be key to this session. I know that sounds like a very basic thing to say, but it's so easy to have your lap disqualified as we check in with Macaulay Jones in the Cool Drive Commodore. Brad Jones racing. And he's into the last couple of sectors. Remember, 5 sectors on this circuit, similar to what we had at Bathurst, which is very specific to iRacing, not quite like it would be in a Formula 1 race. 2 minute 19.68 is his best so far. Gary Jacobson is on the bubble with a 2:18.6. Can he knock him out? We go on board.
He's turned in way too early through there. It's off camber through that final chicane. Well, it's final chicane in Formula 1, but it's very easy to lose the rear end because it's off camber, and then through La Source, you don't want to upshift to 5th here, but if you're fast enough, you'll have to. And now downhill traction zone. So again, another part of the circuit that's so challenging. The undulation changes everything for the driver here.
Macca jump up from 21st? He does, to 20th. What a huge amount of effort that was for a gain of 1 spot for Macaulay Jones.
That's this session done because you can't improve on your second lap. The tyres are going to give up. So I think Macaulay Jones' day is done in P20.
Comes Will Davison now in the Milwaukee 23 red entry into the last corner at La Source. Now, he has a chance. He did lay down some pretty quick lap times in practice. He's been spending more and more time in the sim, doing a lot of midweek racing. From 13th, Will Davison, can he get himself into the Armour All shootout? Yes, he goes to 7th. Good lap from Will. Spent quite a bit of time racing in Europe as a junior and using all of that European success and knowledge to lay down a time just before the checkered flag came out. But there are still a few drivers who might be able to knock him out, including Brock Feeney, who has at least set one personal best sector time on this lap.
So the cutoff point at the moment is at 2 minute 18.49 by Andre Heimgartner, who made the shootout at Bathurst 2, and he did a good job of it. It's up to Forward, Gary Jacobson behind, Jack LeBrock too. And you mentioned Brock Feeney here, who's on the end of his run. This is critical right now as he's in P14. This final corner can gain you a couple of tenths if you nail it. You've got to be smooth on the power through the exit here.
One of two drivers in the field who are sons of former motorcycle racers. He and Jack Doohan raced each other all through their karting careers. Brock's dad, Paul, was a really successful racer in the 80s. And can Brock just sneak his way in? It would appear no. 2:18.6, not quite what he needed. And unfortunately, his best time of that 2:18.6 will not be getting him into the shootout. But because it's such a long lap, there's still plenty of drivers who might sneak in.
Definitely. Jack LeBrock's got a chance here. Let's have a look at his sector times. He's gone green in a couple of them. Fabian Coulthard's just jumped up to 15th, but that's his day done. So one DJR Team Penske driver's in Scott McLaughlin. The other is going to be out at the shootout, and he will not make it to our next Armour All qualifying session. How about LeBrock through La Source?
Is he the last chance? The last driver who could possibly upset this top 10. Heimgartner sits there perilously close to the drop zone with a 2:18.49. Heimgartner has made the top 10 in every qualifying session thanks to Armour All so far this season, and that stat will continue because Jack LeBrock has not been able to improve on his 2:18.6 and will stay outside the top 10 in 13th position. There's Lee Holdsworth, live from Simworks in Melbourne's eastern suburbs. Been spending a little bit of time racing and practicing on the very cool sim setup that is at Tom Randall's place. There's Bryce Forward improving a position and going up into the shootout and knocking Heimgartner out right at the very end. The last car across the finish line, getting the best of the conditions and making it count right at the very, very end of the session. And that will put all three Walkinshaw Andretti United cars in the shootout thanks to Armour All, and that is a big result for Ryan Walkinshaw and the crew.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be proud of that. Heimgartner will be disappointed to be bumped out in the last moments. We're just going to check whether or not he's exited the server early, because we don't know if he knows he's been knocked out. But anyway, these are your final standings, and you saw the gap between Van Gisbergen and D Pasquale for first position. SVG has been in form the past few rounds, Chad, and he's been very quick.
Yeah, that was an amazing lap from Shane Van Gisbergen. And he has comfortably locked himself into provisional pole, just like he did racing a GT car here a few years ago. So the stage is set for the Armour All Top 10 shootout. All the big names are locked in, including Lando Norris and a few other wild cards. You do not want to miss it. After the break, we go qualifying thanks to Armour All in the Top 10 shootout.
Have you always wanted to be a supercars commentator? Well, now's your chance, thanks to Shaw, presented by Jans. Head to the Supercars Facebook page tomorrow and post a video of yourself commentating over the supplied vision on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtags Commentate the Stars and VASC for your chance to win. Congratulations to this week's Local Legends winner. You could also win weekly prizes across the Supercars All-Stars E-Series, including your own Local Legends simulator valued at over $10,000. To enter, share a photo holding a Local Legends pack on your Instagram or the Local Legends Facebook page with the hashtag #WinWithLocalLegends to go into the draw to win.
You're watching Armour All qualifying live for the BP Ultimate Supercars All-Stars E-Series, and that is the live look as the All-Stars get ready for a big night on the sim. We're going to check in with a man who is line 5, position 3, Bryce Forward, who has been electric in that Armour All qualifying session. Up first, Cooper's live chat of the night. Bryce, nice job. You just snuck that one in on the buzzer.
Yeah, how you going, guys? Yeah, exactly right. I did a lap very, very similar the lap before, but, you know, a couple of hundredths in this game is so important. So, yeah, that last lap just knocked me into the 10, so happy with that.
You'll be second car out tonight. How hard is it to get a lap in at Spa and not cross that boundary and have your time taken away?
The shortcuts here are super, super sensitive. And because the lap's so long, you know, there's a lot that can go wrong, and there's so many areas where you can take those shortcuts. So putting a lap together here is really, really difficult. And even now in the top 10 shootout, when you have to put, you know, you only have one chance to do a lap, it's even more difficult. So it's going to be tough, but I'm interested to see how we go.
Where are your goggles tonight, mate? You're giving away the VR.
Yeah, I've made the switch to the screen so you guys can see my beautiful face.
Put them back on, quick. Good luck, mate. You're our second car out tonight. And 3 Walkinshaw Andretti United cars locked into the shootout, so well done.
All right,
thanks,
well, guys.
Let him get his race face back on. And here are the 10 starters for tonight's Armour All Top 10 shootout. And it'll be Jaden Ojeda, a Super 2 wildcard entrant who'll be first out onto the track, and that is a huge honour tonight. Great job from Jaden. A couple of wildcards making the dance with Lando Norris in the show, and he will be third from last. How cool to see the wildcards competitive once again, just like we saw the Armour All shootout at Bathurst a few weeks ago. So the stage is perfectly set. We're up in the Ardennes in Belgium. It's an amazing part of the world and a fabulous racetrack if you ever get the chance to visit this place in real life. It's like a golf course or a country club. It's so special. The history around this place is immense. Not just around the 7Ks this circuit, but the 14K expansion out into Greater Francorchamps and the area around here is something to behold. It's an amazing part of the world, and tonight we're going to be racing there for 3 races tonight as part of the BP Ultimate Supercars All-Stars E-Series. As our first driver rolls out for Armour All Top 10 shootout. Jonathan, it's a very difficult lap to get right around here. One reason being it's 7Ks and 19 turns long, over 2.25 minutes of lap time to get it right. But there are so many ways to lose a lap here.
And we've got a good shot of the pit exit too. You can lose the card there coming out of pit lane during our races today. 4 pit stops to be made over 3 races. For Jaden Ojeda, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him, our Super 2 driver, and you talked about how difficult it is to fit a lap. So almost every corner here, if you cut the circuit, you can potentially delete your lap time. So there are certain track limits that we will notify you viewers on at home. And the likes of this corner at what is now known as the Jackie X corner from about 2 years ago. It used to be the no-name corner or even Speaker's corner. But it's like we just discussed, Chad, it's we could, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an Armour All shootout with no lap time set. It's that hard to get a lap time around here.
Yeah, it's a lot similar to a shootout, say, at the Gold Coast, where we see quite a few curb hops down on the beach chicane. So we may see some lap times stricken from the record here, so watch out for that. I wonder if our drivers will be taking it somewhat cautiously as an approach. We saw Tom Randall get heavily punished when he tried that approach at Bathurst. Didn't get the lap time that he wanted. As Jaden gets ready in a Commodore, he races a Nissan in Dunlop Super 2 from Mount White Motorsport. Very similar look to his car, but making that switch over to Holden tonight.
Well, he's having some connection issues at the moment. You can see we're struggling to get him through parts of the lap, but he's really taking care of the Dunlop rubber here on this outlap. It's a very long outlap, the longest of our BP Supercars All-Stars E-Series season, and it's, as I said, I've tried this the other night, you know, doing a slow outlap, and it really does help your lap times.
He's also going to get the most TV time out of just about anyone for the entire season, being first driver up in an Armour All shootout at Spa with such a long outlap and time to really start concentrating for the kid from Penrith. just 20 years of age, second in Super 3 last year. He was the Australian Formula 4 champion, runner-up in Formula Ford. Actually holds the record for most race wins in Formula 4, where he dominated for an entire season. No one could get near him. And now it's our chance to watch him for 2.25 minutes around Spa in a supercar. And here we go. Diving down towards Eau Rouge, this fast, frightening part of the circuit. Diving over the Dunlop curb cam, whoosh, up through Radion. Already up to 6th gear.
Well, it's a very clean start to the lap. I think he's already lost time. He's just trying to get a lap in, and good on him, because we did see at least Bryce Fullwood at Mount Panorama strike the wall and delete his lap time. Here is Les Combes, the end of the long Kemmel straight, down to 2nd gear for Ojeda. Some drivers may run 3rd through here. And now into Malmedy. Don't run too wide on the exit here. It'll lap time. I think that's okay, though, for the 20-year-old.
It's racing out of Sydney Motorsport Park tonight. They've got a really cool setup there with an old modified A1 GP tub. You can just see a little glimpse of it right now. He's got all the lights off. It's being very serious at the moment for Jaden. It's the UROS Driving Performance School. Big step up for him tonight. The running gear in that sim, by the way, is the same stuff that Lando Norris uses, so it's the best stuff you can find. And he's right on the limit as he rips it up down towards the top of the circuit, down through the valley.
It looks very flat through this complex, but there's actually a lot of camber on the inside of the corner, which can gain you a lot of lap time. So you really want to hug the curbs. And now through Stabilo and then curb Paul Frere to end the lap. Don't run wide through here. You pick up a lot of understeer, and that's on the limit for Ojeda. He's got a few more corners to go, and one of the best in the world of motorsport in Blanchimont.
6th gear again. Approaching speeds of about 270 kilometres per hour. Roll off it. Barely even dab the brakes through there. And then a huge stop down towards the chicane. From 6th all the way back down to 1st gear, and use those curbs, but not too much. Gave the curbs plenty of room. He's still very much inbounds on this lap, so it's probably not a bad way to approach this Armor All Shootout. Get a lap done. Now remember, that is not the start-finish line like it is in Formula 1. La Source is now the last corner, not the first. And this is the end of Jaden's lap.
Now, not the quickest sector times, but this is a smart approach from our Super 2 Series driver. Get a time in, because this could promote him 3 positions if other drivers don't. And across the line he goes with a 2:18.8. And again, like I said, Chad, we could see pole in the mid 2:17 range. So nice from Ojeda to get a lap time in, clean and well.
Well, the first lap through, and an Armor All Shootout, you just never know what the benchmark lap time needs to be. A 2:18.88 for Jaden, and the kid from Western Sydney has laid down a pretty cool lap time. We'll check in with him right now for a quick chat as well. Well done, Jaden. That was a big stage, and you lived up to the promise and laid down a fairly respectable lap time. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. I'm stoked to be here. Obviously, first run in the E-Series, and to get in the top 10 was cool enough, and obviously I just wanted to try to put a lap in. Obviously, tough with off tracks around here, so to get a lap in with no off tracks, it's pretty solid, and hopefully one of the other boys make a mistake and we can grab a few positions.
All right, mate, well done. Congratulations. You're in the show for now. We'll see how you go later tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
And here comes Bryce Fullwood, who has been in amazing trim so far in the BP Ultimate All-Stars E-Series. Made the Armor All Shootout at Bathurst, had that time taken away from him. And the time to beat now is a 2:18.88 for our reigning Dunlop Super 2 champion. Doesn't matter if it's the real world or the virtual one, that is a seriously cool piece of road. Climb from Eau Rouge to Radion, down the Kemmel Straight. Famous parts of racetrack. It's made that switch tonight, away from the virtual reality headset. So far, what have we got to say about the first sector?
3/10 up already on Ojeda, and it looked good visually. And you're going to see drivers not run too wide on the exit through Les Combes. They want to set themselves up for this next right-hander. And how about Rivage, the downhill braking zone? This is where people forget Lewis Hamilton back in 2010 almost binned it and lost the win here with about 4 laps to go when it started raining, but he kept it out of the wall and won that race. One of the most thrilling races I've seen in Formula 1 history. And now down to the double apex left-hander of Puan.
It's a bit like the sudden loop, but downhill through this part of the course. So we're in the middle of the valley right now. And Bryce Forward driving this car nicely through a few sector times now, and see him up on Jaden Ojada's time. So different timing to what we'd usually use in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. We'll try and verbally bring you the latest as the laps unfold. This has been clean from Bryce Forward so far, not wanting to fall for the same error that he made at Bathurst.
Yeah, definitely not. He's looking on it so far, in a good rhythm. And just like Shane Van Gisbergen spoke about at Bathurst, you start the lap cleanly and just want to get a good time in, and then Gizzy thought, oh, hey, I'm pretty quick. I'm just going to try and nail it for the rest of the lap, and scored pole position. We've only ever had 2 pole sitters for our E-Series. That was Van Gisbergen, and it was Anton D Pasquale too, but will Bryce Forward potentially set a good benchmark for the rest of the field to beat?
A little bit of wheel spin out of the chicane, running up towards La Source, 22 years of age, from Darwin. Has moved around quite a lot in his very young career. Spent a lot of time in Super 2 trying to make that transition into the main game. Had a breakout year in 2019 and earned that right. Now he went 2:18.48 earlier today in Armour All qualifying. And Bryce Forward lays down a time of a 2:18.56, goes to the top by nearly 0.3 of a second. It was all done in the first sector.
That's a good time from Ojeda. To be honest with you, Ojeda looked very clean for Forward. I think he's got provisional pole, but I expected it to be by more.
Yeah, 2:18.56, so slightly down to the tune of about 1/10 of a second on his time earlier.
That's going to cost him time there through the final chicane. He's lost at least 1/10, clipping the curb on the inside.
And also the exit through there looked a little bit squirrely as well. We'll have a quick chat with Bryce Forward and see how he feels about that lap. Bryce at 2:18.56, not bad.
Well, it's not too bad. Obviously, just a little under 1/10 away from what I qualified at. I've been struggling, obviously, to put my optimum lap together here because it's such a long lap and, you know, so many places to make an error. But it is what it is, and we'll see where that puts us.
All right, mate, you're having a good run so far. Good luck tonight.
No worries. I think I might take a photo of my name while it says number 1 next to it now. I think.
Quick, snap, snap. Well done, Bryce Forward. Doing a great job so far. Here comes Nick Percat. Put it in the Armour All shootout at Mount Panorama, and the Dunlop Super Dealer Brad Jones racing car is ready to tackle the 7Ks of Spa. And how is Nick Percat going to get along in this lap? 7th last time out of Bathurst. He's got the full support crew in the background as always. Good to see Nelson up on the wheel last week. Let's see how Nick goes tonight. Nice wide entrance out of, nice wide exit, I should say, out of La Source. Try and maximise the run onto that front straight. Dip down through Eau Rouge.
Goodness me, a lot of steering input. Oh, that's his lap time gone. And he's
gone?
put
Yep.
his head down.
Gee, that was, yeah, he's frustrated. We talked about it being a possibility, and the first driver to fall for it is Nick Percat.
And that was him cutting the track, if you're wondering why he's distraught from that. So for Nick Percat, unfortunately, his qualifying session is done.
Nick, good time, bad time to chat right now.
Real lucky it's a game. My engine did go at Eau Rouge, and here we are.
Yeah, tell us exactly what happened there and how easy is that to do?
To be honest, it's the fine line is about a mil.
Yeah, right.
Pressed over it, when the front splitter kind of picks up as you're going over the crest, it does wash the nose a bit, and as it started washing, I was like, I'm just going to keep my foot into it, stop 10 shootout, see what happens in it. Honestly,
see if it sticks.
Tiny,
But you know
but
what?
it's all good.
Yeah. Does the pressure in Armour All qualifying in a shootout compare to the real life scenario?
You can't, no, I'm sorry. I can't get involved in that. That's nothing like it. It's the difference of having the crowd and in a real car and all that is amazing. This is seriously fun. I get nervous because I'm like, I don't want to make a mistake or spear off or anything like that. But yeah, you don't kind of get the adrenaline. But yeah, I'm dirty at myself for that mistake. It's annoying, but oh well, I still start 10th. I only dropped 2, so it's all good.
Always good to chat anyway, mate. So unlucky tonight. Hopefully we'll see you pick up a few spots in the race.
Thank you, mate.
Nick Percat live from Melbourne. And we switch our attention now to a man originally from Victoria, now calls Queensland and the Gold Coast home. Driving for a Melbourne-based team in Tickford and 23 Red. Milwaukee Racing, here comes Will Davison. And he has been really quick over the last couple of weeks, picking up the speed. And I'm not even sure if he knew he had this much speed in a simulator. He has been quite quick indeed over the last couple of weeks.
I think he's a top 10 driver in the series so far. He had a great 4th place finish at Montreal, and credit to his start. That's where he gained the most positions. Qualifying so critical, even at a track like Spa, where it's easy to overtake with the long straights and the draft effect. You do want to have good track position, and for Percat, he'll start on a big decline there back in the order in 10th. You know, the start here for these drivers on that classic start-finish straight they used to use half a century ago. It's going to be a challenge here to avoid wheel spin. We know what happened to Joey Logano last week on a flat surface.
Oh, don't mention it, please. Surely we're going to see a repeat of some of the carnage that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Never say never. It's been an okay run so far, particularly in Armor qualifying for Will. Straight away, he was 8th quickest in the first qualifying session, a personal best of 6th on 2 occasions, including Montreal. Just missed the Armor shootout at Bathurst. Couldn't quite make the big show there. But he's qualified in the shootout for this one at Spa, and that is the view ahead, down the hill and into Eau Rouge. 26 metres of elevation from here. Across the Dunlop curb cam to the top of Radion. It is like nowhere else, and don't tell me.
That's it.
Don't tell me. He's gone. He's done exactly what Nick Percat did. And we're, unfortunately, 2 from 4. And the disappointment is summed up on Will's grimacing face. Oh, that's a shame. And he's got the next, I guess, probably 30 minutes to kick himself about that one. Good chance to check in with Will, but unlucky, Will. That was tough.
Yeah, not ideal. It's that first lap. The car has a lot of understeer at Eau Rouge, but I've been working on that first lap, and I knew what I had to do. Just dabbing the brake with my left foot to get the nose in up the hill and hook the curb, but I just missed as soon as I missed the turn in there, I knew it was all over.
You had a special guest joining you during the expression session last week. What's the crew up to tonight?
Let me just look for you. Oh yeah, we've got a bit of WWE wrestling going on. There we go. So hopefully I'll burn them out a bit. But
I was hoping for a cameo during the shootout. Well done, mate. We'll see you in the race.
Yeah, it should be fun. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Will Davison will be starting 9th at best. And here comes his teammate, the Mildura man, Cam Waters, 2nd in the BP Ultimate point score, and looking very nice and consistent so far in this championship, but hasn't been able to put together his best performances in Armor qualifying. If anything, it's been something of a weak point.
Well, his worst performance of the season was at Bathurst, 15th, and didn't make the shootout. So great to see our 2nd place ranker in the championship at the moment on his outlap. He's got a long run though to begin the lap.
So just to remind everybody, yes, we've had 4 drivers attempt an Armor shootout lap, but as you can see, top left of your screens right now in our totem, only 2 names survive at the moment, that being Bryce Forward and Jaden Ojeda. That time, at 2:18.56 is the time to beat. It seems pretty gettable right now after what Bryce said, as Cam Waters set to attempt an Armor shootout lap today. We missed out on making the shootout at Bathurst, where he qualified 13th that day. So our first virtual look at a shootout lap today from Cam Waters, former Super 2 champion as well. Noticing a theme here in this session so far, a lot of Super 2 boys graduating up through the ranks.
Race win to his name this season too in the BP Supercars All-Stars E-Series. That was back at Silverstone for race 5 in round number 2 of the championship. And let's see if he has the same iconic wide entry late exit, and he's going to do exactly that. You might as well run off the track.
It's as wide as you could possibly get to start the lap. Works only on your out lap, certainly not on your hot lap. Here comes Cameron Waters, Monster Energy Tickford Mustang. Now, step 1, get through Eau Rouge and Radion. And he's done that just.
Oh, careful there as well. You can pick up an off track on the exit, and now the long Kemmel straight. This is a good chance to take a breather, Chad, after dealing with that daunting first corner.
And then back on the brakes at the top, down through Lacombe. It's a big long chicane, a right then a left, which takes us to the very top of the hill at Malmedy. And look down from this part of the racetrack, down on the pit complex from the very top of the hill, and just get an absolute idea for how special these 7,004 metres of racetrack really are. Down into the valley now for Cam Waters. Early sector times are good. It was the quickest up the hill. 5 sector times in total, similar to Bathurst on iRacing.
Second sector time here for Waters. Green so far. He's looking good for pole position at the moment. Still got to keep the rest of the lap clean. That's very wide through the exit to pull on, and now towards the Fania chicane. Spot your braking point. It's a third gear corner here, around about 170 kilometers an hour. It's a lot faster than it looks. Nice and clean on the exit. Use all of that curb on the entry. He does that perfectly. I really like this lap so far from the Monster Energy driver.
Driving it clean, looking nice. Live look inside Cam's bunker right now, running Simworks gear. It's a Simple Experience base with a Simworks wheel and Simworks pedals as well, so he's got the full collection. And he's been really stepping up his game. Oh, and he's really crooked through Blanchimont. That was a big slide mid-corner. How much time is that going to cost him?
Probably lose about half a tenth doing that though, so he should be okay. This corner's more critical. The chicane, nice and wide on the exit. You're allowed to do that. Just got to keep your left wheels within the white lines. Brake about 120 meters before La Source.
Last corner for Cameron Waters. Tickford versus Walkinshaw Andretti United. Keeps those right Dunlop tyres in bounds. 2:18.56 is the time to beat here, set by Bryce Forward. And he does not eclipse it. He misses it by 600ths, and he goes to second. A lot of effort, and has just come up short. And how close is that? 2:18 lap, and they're separated by 62 thousandths of a second.
Looks dejected too, Chad.
Well, that's the heartbreaker. It was a good first sector and a really good last sector, 32.06. So where exactly did that all go wrong for Cam Waters? We had the big moment through Blanchimont is probably enough to cost him 62 thousandths right there.
He lost it there, but there's other parts of the lap I thought he was very cautious too. You don't want to blame it on one corner, but that's certainly the most dramatic point of his lap right there.
And his former teammate at Tickford steps up to the plate. Rocking a very different colour hairstyle to what he is seen there, and he is straight into it. Here comes the Walkinshaw Andretti United star of Chaz Mostert, the Mobile One Appliances online racing driver. Has absolutely smashed through that first sector. Was it legal?
Look to me. The sector time though, not purple, so he's not up on Cam Waters, who was quicker. So, oh, he's run wide there through Lecom. His day is done too. So far, it looks like Jaden Ojada's strategy of getting a clean lap in has worked to perfection.
Well, this is crazy, crazy stuff in Armour All qualifying. 3 drivers, 3 of the big names too. Percat, Davison, and now Mostert have all come unstuck on this circuit. Now, let's have a look as he was going up the Kemmel Straight and then hard onto the brakes at the top of the hill at Lecom.
So let's see when he brakes. You want to brake just before the curb, around 100 meters. He's broken at the right point, so where has this gone wrong? That looks, so I don't know if he's got the car slowed down in time. He seemed like he broke at the right braking point.
It's a strange one. The man they nicknamed Chaz Exotic last week. He's got a bit of a different look going again. He's learning how to style the new blonde haircut at least. And his Instagram and Twitter banter this week has been next level, asking people to Photoshop his new hairstyle onto anything that can move. And unfortunately for Chaz, it wasn't quite the lap. Hey Chaz, what happened there at the top of the hill?
Mate, I'm just bloody freezing in here. I think I got the AC up too much and half fallen asleep before my lap. So once I got out here to do it, I just made a muppet.
You've been showing off some pretty epic dietary skills on Twitter and Instagram. What's on the menu tonight?
Mate, top secret. You have to tune into my Instagram after this.
We've had hot dogs, we've had burritos, maybe some nachos or something tonight.
Mate, I don't want to give too many secrets away, but I tell you what, I wish I could redo my lap again. Do I have the restart button here somewhere?
Hey, Chaz Exotic was getting a pretty big workout on the socials this week as well. What was your favourite of the photoshopped images?
I would probably have to say me and the Tiger was pretty good.
Yep.
But I really wish someone made one of me and Jess Yates, and Jess Yates being Carol Baskin would have been awesome.
I like the Lego Man one the best. I think that was pretty creative. Hey, mate, best of luck for tonight. I'm glad you've had a shave. It's looking a bit cleaner.
Yeah, I got rid of the mow, but underneath still a bit dirty under the undercarriage here, so I'll have to work on that for next.
Well done, buddy. All right, next to step up to the plate is the king of Armour All qualifying from the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship, coming off the back of a win at the Brickyard of all places. And what an amazing finish it was to the IndyCar race we had a few nights ago. Just shaking it off as he does in typical Scott McLaughlin style and switching it back over to his noble steed, the Mustang. The Shell V-Power Mustang is ready to go. And can he give us a lap? That's the question right now, as we've only had 3 drivers complete a lap, and that's why we've only got 3 drivers on the totem, and 3 have been completely wiped off so far. Here goes Scott McLaughlin up through Eau Rouge, and the top of Radion. He's just about on the absolute limit through there.
Struggled at Bathurst in the shootout lap. And so far today, he will, by default, start higher than where he was at Bathurst. But let's hope he gets a good, clean run in. Breaks even later than Chaz Mostert through there. So I really don't know what went wrong for our Walkinshaw Andretti United driver. Doesn't use all the exit because you need to set up the entry into here. And here's our championship leader. He's been much stronger in the races, Chad. It's not been qualifying where we're expecting him to climb on pole. It's really the races where we're seeing him shine.
Yeah, who would have thought would be over halfway through this season and yet to see him claim an Armour All Pole award? There's just no way in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship would have to wait that many rounds to see Scotty claim a pole. And he's about halfway through this lap, working the wheel. Uses a very similar setup to what Cam Waters uses, SimWorks gear. He's made the switch now to a big curved screen. Off the back of having a pretty lackluster setup for the screen at least. Now he's gone big, a big 49-inch curved screen. And it's a good second sector. And he's followed that through the rest of the lap. So far he is definitely in the ballpark.
Very clean lap by the Shell V-Power Racing Team driver.
It's 2/10 quicker than anyone's gone through the second sector alone. So he's found a lot going through Sector 2, which is the run-up from Malmedy, Bruxelles, and back down the hill.
Come on, you're in 6th gear here. You're going to downshift to 5th on the brakes. Just a slight dab. I like that. He's used the brakes the least out of any driver, and he does right foot brake compared to some of the left foot brakers.
Big stop up to the chicane. How much curb will he take here? Patience before you tramp down on the throttle. Over 600 virtual horsepower connect to the Belgian racetrack. 1 corner to go for Scott McLaughlin. If you've just joined us live on Fox Sports for Armour All qualifying, this is the shootout. We've had 3 drivers complete a lap and 3 drivers unsuccessfully attempt a lap. Here comes Scott McLaughlin with Bryce Forward's time on top. And McLaughlin goes to number 1. 2:18.33. That is a beautiful lap time. And that was a cracking lap from the series champ. Got it done when he needed to with a number of personal best sector times. Went 31.9 in that last sector, so sub 32 seconds in the last sector. Very, very quick indeed. And it was that run up towards Radion where he was really inch perfect. Could this be McLaughlin's first Armour All pole of the series?
It's a good benchmark so far. We're expecting pole to be in the 17 range, but let's see how he fares when these next few runners come in. Yeah,
well, we went 17.7 earlier in Armour All qualifying, but so hard to match that lap in an Armour All shootout, just like it is in real life. So 2:18.33 is now the time to beat. And he's been doing a bit of dirt track racing on iRacing as well. Seen him pop up in a sprint car a little bit this week.
He's been doing a lot of it, not just a little. He's been occupying his time. So to be quick in this car will be a challenge. And now we head over to Lando Norris, our McLaren Formula One driver, who will begin his Armour All shootout lap.
Well, it's pretty cool that he was also doing the virtual Indy 500, Indy 175, a couple of weeks ago, because it's going to give him some experience of this sort of qualifying scenario, albeit on an oval, as Lando tackles Eau Rouge. Walkinshaw Andretti United with 3 cars in the shootout.
That didn't look good.
And
yep,
he has rolled out of it. Oh, what a shame that is for Lando. And He has come unstuck in Armor All qualifying. Second time he's gone toe-to-toe with McLaughlin this week in an Andretti versus Penske fight. And at the moment, it's advantage Penske and Scott McLaughlin. And that, I get the feeling he's gone back and having a little look at his replay. Must have been very, very close. That's a crying shame for the Mobile One Arrow Commodore. How close was it? The BP Ultimate replay.
It's
Got up on the
millimeters.
curb. Must have only been millimetres in it. We'll have a chat to him live from the Northern Hemisphere. Lando, welcome, buddy. And that was very, very close, I get the feeling.
It was close, but I was off, so it doesn't really matter in the end of the day if it's close or not. But no, I just risked too much, which I didn't really need to do because Scotty's 18.3 is pretty slow, but obviously took the smart idea, and he was the clever guy, and just winning a lap.
You have been the talk of the virtual world this week off the back of IndyCar. Can you even believe the massive, I guess, Twitter fight and Twitter storm that started off the back of last week's race?
I mean, I don't want to get too much into that. I don't think that's the stuff I want to get into now. But like, too seriousness, not because I'm concentrated or anything. It's just, I don't think that's what we got to go into. I think I'm just excited for this race. You know, Scotty won the race in Indy, so I think it's time for me to try and get my comeback on and see if I can get ahead of him. But yeah, he's freaking fast, and so is Shane. So I'm excited.
We've come up with a new hashtag for you tonight. It's hashtag Orlando Down Under, since you're racing in the Aussie Supercars.
All right, I'll make sure I use that in my tweets.
Best of luck tonight, mate. We're so thrilled to have you part of this series. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
How cool is that? Absolute international megastar Lando Norris, bringing with him 400,000 followers on Twitch. And now we switch our attention over to Anton D Pasquale. He has been the Armor All qualifying superstar with 5 Armor All poles to his name, but didn't get the shootout at Bathurst. Can he turn that around into some positivity today with just 2 drivers to go in the Armor All shootout? Remember, only 4 names in the totem because we've only had 4 drivers complete a lap out of the 8 so far. That is how difficult it is. A 50% success rate tonight, Jonathan.
The good news for him is that he's got a result to fall back on. He'll start no worse than the 6th position if he doesn't get a lap in, but still, that's pretty well. So you'd want to get at least a good time in. I think for De Pasquale, if he doesn't push too hard, he can probably still set a 17. So let's see how he fares. But for the Penrite Racing driver, you talked about him scoring 5 poles. He's been trading that with Gizzy with 3. This is going to be an awesome end to our Armor All shootout with 2 of the quickest drivers in our E-Series.
Yeah, they have been the best in Armor All qualifying with those 8 Armor All poles between them. And here we go with Anton D Pasquale, and has been working really close with Brody Kostecki as his spotter, which in our world would call an engineer. But talks him through every aspect of the night, including an out lap for a shootout lap. It's everything, even go wide here, try and maximize the amount of speed that you can take onto this short shoot, onto the front straight.
Brody's a very good teammate. I was testing with him the other night. We're doing some laps in some stuff I can't say too much about, but here we go for Anton De Pasquale.
Okay, can we just get through Eau Rouge? That's the first box we need to tick.
Yes!
It looks good. It looks really good. And we are set to go down the Camel Straight with Anton D Pasquale. Great start to the lap. Now, first sector times through here have been around 19.7 seconds, and he is bang on, 19.7 seconds, so it's going to be close.
But he's not purple, so that's very interesting now to begin the lap as he heads through Les Combes, and then Malmedy to begin his run down the hill here. This is the highest point of the circuit of 102 meters of elevation change at Spa, and the downhill braking zone at Ravage. If you get this wrong, you can lose upwards of half a second here, but he's nailed it through there, Chad. And how about him through Jackie Ick's corner?
Scott McLaughlin watching on in, I guess, what is a very comfortable position to sit in a sim. Can't do that in the race car. That'd be pretty difficult to get the legs up that high. And he is watching and studying Anton D Pasquale tackle this 7K virtual Spa. And the middle's good. It's really good. 33.76. He goes about 5 to 600ths quicker than Scott McLaughlin's second sector time. 27.4 through the second sector, so he's finding even more time back on Scott McLaughlin.
And Chad, it's not about getting a good lap in anymore. Oh, sorry, getting a lap in anymore. You've got to get a good one in. Track position is so critical right now for the championship. He's got a lot of points to make up on both Scott McLaughlin and Shane van Gisbergen. And here he heads through Blanchimont and the lap. You won't see him making too many mistakes through here. It's a relatively straightforward corner as Blanchimont these days. It is fun. And now to the chicane. He's got to spot his brake marker right after the bridge.
Gets the car stopped for the chicane. The only driver in the field using a track racer rig. He's completed the base with an OSW base and Huskenveld pedals, so it's a really unusual setup to what a lot of the other drivers are using. Scotty takes to the socials to have a quick look. He looks nervous, a bit pensive at the moment.
I'm nervous too.
Anton just looks comfortable. 2:18.3, the time to beat. Could this be a 17 for ADP? It's an 18 flat, and that is a really good lap time. New number one man is ADP, Anton D Pasquale. Nearly snuck in to the 17s, a 2:18.00. And McLaughlin will not be getting his first Almirall pole tonight. Beautiful lap from Anton.
Very good time as well. So he's going to start no worse than second. Here he is on the run down to Arouche to begin his lap.
What a great run. And perfect time to do it as well, as Penrite Racing are launching their own junior E-Series as well online. So go check that out if you can. And a quick chat with Anton D Pasquale. You crushed that lap, buddy. Good job.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's obviously seen everyone getting off tracks and lap invalid and stuff, so it's a fine line between pushing and getting the lap across the board. So tried a bit of both, and it seems okay. So we'll see what Shane can do and have a good race.
Well done, mate. He needs a 17 to beat you. Best of luck.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Here comes Shane van Gisbergen, and this is perfectly set up, just like it was at Bathurst. The Almirall shootout there, diving into Eau Rouge. Here comes the Red Bull Racing Holden Commodore of Shane van Gisbergen. And he was really quick here when he ran a McLaren on 3 separate occasions as part of his GT4A. He even set a provisional pole there one night, and he is nearly 2 tenths up to the first sector. Whoa, that was a big first run. He is purple to the top of the hill.
You could tell with the human eye it was a rapid first sector. And now through the second intermediates he goes. It's a very long second sector here. We won't get that time until after Jackie X corner. Through Ravage he goes, hugging the inside. Slight dab of the brake you saw there just to get the front end rotated. And he has nailed shootout. He did the same at Bathurst, and we could see him back on pole for Spa.
This has been a killer lap so far from SVG, another purple sector. He's ticking them off, and he's on track to move into the 2-minute 17s, but it's still a long, long lap to go, over 3 Ks to that checkered flag.
And the good news is he'll know his deltas, so if he knows he's up, he can approach the rest of the lap much more cautiously.
2:18 flat, the time to beat. He was comfortably into the 2-minute 17s in Almirall qualifying today. He went 2:17.3, so he's got a lot of room to move there. Doesn't need his best lap, just needs to be better than Anton.
Wow.
Here we go, the run home now. Approaching Blanchimont. Into the final couple of sectors, Anton watching on.
This is one of the best laps of the season right now, let me tell you. This is going to be rapid when he crosses the line. Fourth intermediate coming up. He's on the limit. He's purple through every sector so far on the racetrack.
4 sectors down, and he is absolutely flying. Shane van Gisbergen giving us, dare I say it, the perfect lap with 1 corner to go. La Source, and then the checkered flag for SVG and the Red Bull Holden Racing team. He's been clawing his way back up in the BP Ultimate point score. Had the rear end dancing a little bit down into La Source, and he's becoming a major player in this championship once again. Needs a 2-minute 17 for the pole. Shane van Gisbergen, the perfect theatre of an Almirall shootout. He gets the job done comfortably by nearly half a second. He has absolutely annihilated everyone in Almirall qualifying today. His 4th Almirall pole of the year, and Shane van Gisbergen flexing his muscles at Spa. That was perfect. What a lap.
That's intimidating too come the race later today. What a lap from Gizzy. He's deserved that. his fourth pole position of the season as we look at our final results here in a second. And I tell you what, man, that is insane. One of the best laps I've ever seen, Chad.
How cool was that? Shane Van Gisbergen doing what Shane Van Gisbergen does. And that was just about ideal from SVG. And how funny is that in a top 10 shootout? We've only got 6 drivers who completed a lap. Big shout out to the man that you see in 6, Jada No Jada, stepping up from Super 2 today and getting a lap in. Didn't fall for the traps that are out there as the first driver out, and he did a very good job.
Brilliant strategy by him to get a clean one in, and it's paid off dividends. He came into this session as the 10th quickest driver, comes out 6th on the 3rd row.
Shane Van Gisbergen, just about the only driver on that list who hasn't raced in Super 2, showing you what a really handy pathway it can be. And here is your Armour All Pole Award of the night, and he'll be starting from the pole for the first of the 3 races tonight at Spa, and this is going to be really exciting. Congratulations to Red Bull Holden Racing Team, Shane Van Gisbergen. Nice job. The stage is perfectly set. 3 races tonight, 30 drivers, including Lando Norris. So we've got some of the biggest names in international racing, real or virtual. Don't go anywhere. We're about to go live with Jess and the boys up in Sydney. Thanks for watching qualifying.